everybody, I am Elizabeth and welcome back to another Kilby Life video. I am excited and a little bit nervous to share with you my story today on my low carb, low sugar way of eating and how that journey has looked for me. Before I get into it, I do want to say thank you to Element for sponsoring this video. If you guys have not checked this out, they have a new chocolate medley out. It has chocolate mint, chocolate chai, and chocolate raspberry. They are all really good. But Element is a electrolyte supplement drink. They have all the things you want in it and none of the junk. There's no fillers. There's no ingredients that you're like, oh, I don't want to put that into my body. They're all fantastic. And it's sodium, potassium, and magnesium in a scientifically based formula that will help support your body no matter what diet you're on. Even the standard American diet. It will definitely benefit everybody. It's also great for after a workout, just to help your body recover. And I have loved incorporating it into how I'm eating. If you go to the link that we're gonna put up on the screen, it's drinkelement.com/Kilby, drinklmnt.com/Kilby. They will send you one of these free sample packs with any order. It contains all of their current flavors and is a great way to try out a bunch of different flavors before you commit to some of the larger boxes. Today I wanted to share with you a little bit about my story and how this way of eating has changed me. I was laughing because I was looking through some old photos and found a picture of myself from right before I started eating low carb and low sugar. And if we're all being honest, I was shocked by it. I don't remember taking the picture. I don't remember looking like that. And I don't remember feeling like there was that much of a problem, if that makes sense. Because looking back, I could say, you know what? I did not look like I felt good at that point. Just to give you a little bit of my story, I started having children back in 2009, and we have had a new baby every 18 months to 2 years since then, up through 2020. I had lots of up and down weights. I've tried a lot of different fad diets in between there. I did Weight Watchers for a while. And I always made it back to that pre-baby weight within a few pounds. But with each pregnancy, those few pounds kind of started to add up and stick around a little bit longer. In 2020, in June, I had Rachel, and she was the sweetest little baby that never slept. So in order to get through the day, I was drinking a lot of coffee. I was overeating, trying to find different sources of energy. I was giving into emotional eating and looking for treats and carbs to satisfy kind of the overwhelm, the just trying to get out of this hole that I felt like I was in, energy-wise. And really, I didn't realize that I was making a deeper hole for myself. I was making it harder for my body to function well. I was tired. I had brain fog. I felt overwhelmed. I felt stressed out. And, you know, I mean, I had a baby. I had 7 other kids. Some of that is just inherent in life, but I was doing myself absolutely no favors with the way I was eating and how I was taking care of my body. In June of 2021, Aaron suggested that we both go on a low carb, low sugar diet or a keto diet. And I remember thinking, I don't want to. And I mean, the man has said before, he does not make me do anything. I got on board with it, but I wasn't happy about it. I knew I needed to do something, but as I looked into keto, all I could think about was the things I was giving up. I was giving up sugar, I was giving up carbs, I was giving up all of these things that I was looking to make me happy and give me energy and take care of me, and the places that I went that were like me time and self-care and all of that kind of stuff, and because I was putting them in the wrong place, if that makes sense. And so I was trying to figure out how to go into this diet without actually giving up any of the things I didn't want to give up. And it was kind of funny, on the way home from this trip, we went on a trip to Virginia and said we were going to start changing the way we were eating the day after we got back. And on the way home from the trip, I remember like begging him to stop at Tim Hortons to get this very specific drink that was full of sugar and caffeine and all of the things. And every Tim Hortons we drove by was either way too far off of our course or was closed. And a little part of me really wanted to cry, and I'm pretty sure I held it together, but it wasn't pretty. It's kind of sad looking back on it now, but that's 100% where I was. Once we got back and we changed the way we're eating, I was looking at the grocery store at keto ice creams and keto treats and sugar-free this and sugar-free that, and trying to replace all the things I was giving up with allowable alternatives. And that wasn't very healthy either. I found that it didn't help because I was still having cravings for the sweetness then, or the carby things then. I was still looking for fulfillment in those things instead of almost any other healthy outlet. And I was spending a lot of energy in places I didn't need to. And frankly, most of those like keto things are pretty gross. Like I would make these keto mug cakes that taste like kind of sweet chalk. They were not yummy. And I was just prolonging the cravings and the things that I didn't want to give up. I was being very stubborn, if I can own that. I was being very stubborn. I was using sweeteners in my coffee, and honestly, I was using those up until this past October because I like sweet coffee and heavy cream in my coffee, and it's like I was just clinging to these things because I didn't want to lose who I was, if that makes sense. But it was definitely the wrong things to look at for any sort of self-identity. When we did start eating this way, I could immediately feel a difference in the brain fog. I could think again. I could put together full thoughts. I could do all of these things that I felt like I had kind of lost. That I was getting them back now. And I would love to say that I was able to walk away from the sweets and the carbs and just kick that addiction completely. But I will be honest with you, even when Aaron put out his sugar smackdown challenge, I was like, you are talking directly to me. I am still struggling with, and I still struggle with, the pull of the sweet. And I know everybody faces addictions to different things, but honestly, when it was even suggested that sugar might be an addiction, I got mad. Like, I was so frustrated, and I felt so called out by calling what I was craving an addiction, but that's really kind of what it was. And so I was still looking for excuses. Oh, it's a holiday, it's a birthday, it's a Tuesday, whatever it was, to eat the sweets still. And I wish I had the self-control to cut some of that out sooner. I have lost around 60 pounds total since we started doing this. And I just feel so much better in my everyday life. I think it helps me be a better wife, a better mom, a better friend. I'm able to serve in a lot of places with more energy and more excitement than I could muster up before. And it's a big deal to be able to serve my community well because I'm taking care of myself in a way that's appropriate is a big deal. And again, I've talked about before, I've done 2 30-day carnivore challenges, and one that was about 21 days. It was a strict elimination diet, so kind of the lion diet of just beef and salt and water, to see if I could get some healing from a few different things. And those experiences have really helped me to regain control. When I have strict parameters in place, when I come out of those, I look at food again differently and don't necessarily want to rush right back to the way I was eating before. Now, I feel like those things kind of slowly creep in, or, I have lapses of self-control, and then I have to say, okay, let's get back on track. But doing those challenges has helped reset my brain and say, okay, how does my body feel? How does my body feel when I introduce something back in, even if it is still keto friendly? Is it something that is benefiting me, or is it something that's detrimental? And it gave me kind of a clean slate to be able to see those changes instead of just guessing, oh, this food doesn't make me feel great, probably, or whatever it may be. Some of the things that I walked away from this thinking are, again, feeding my body well helps me be a better me and helps me to treat the people around me better because I have the energy and the brain space to do it. Treats are probably always going to be a huge temptation for me. But having done this and having changed the way I'm thinking about food, I know that they are momentary. I know that the taste of whatever it is going to last just a minute and then it's gone. And then I am going to be stuck with, man, I really want that, or I want more of that, or I want, whatever. And so I know going in, if I eat something that is sweet and off plan, that it is probably going to affect the next week or so, and I'm going to have to summon all of my self-control to not continue to give in to that craving or to continue to give into eating things that I know aren't beneficial to me. I also know that I can still have the things that I love. What popped into my mind was my grandma made this chocolate pie that I absolutely loved every Thanksgiving, at Thanksgiving, just the one time a year. And I think part of the reason it was so special is because it wasn't an everyday thing. And so if I can continue to train my mind that sometimes it's probably okay, but I have to be mindful of when that escalates into, oh, now I need it again. Now I need it again. Now I need it again. And be able to say either it's not worth it, or I know going in, I'm going to have to practice some self-control. I also learned that I don't have to make forever decisions. I don't have to say, I'm going to do carnivore forever. I don't have to say, I'm going to be low carb, low sugar, strict, and never have anything else forever. I can say, this is how I'm eating now. I see the benefits in it. I see the change in my demeanor, in my confidence, in my ability to function well in my life, and I want to stick with it. But I don't have to say or pin myself into this place where I feel like, okay, now I've put such parameters on it that all I want to do is fight against it. I may not be very mature. Maybe y'all are better at me than this, but I feel like as soon as somebody says you can't, even if it's me saying it to myself, you can't ever have, or you can't ever do, that's all I can think about. And so to be able to say, you know what, I don't need that stuff. But if the day came and there was a reason why, I don't have to avoid all the things forever. Hopefully that makes sense. Not that I'm giving myself a license to go do whatever I want, but I'm not putting such strict parameters on what I'm doing right now that I feel like I have to fight. I would strongly recommend that anybody who is feeling a lack of self-control try something like this, or whatever it may be, to gain some of that self-control back. Again, when I say for 30 days, I'm gonna eat strictly this way, I can do anything for 30 days. I grew 8 babies. I was pregnant for 9 months each time. I can do anything when there's a time limit on it, right? And so giving yourself that challenge of, can I do this? And for what time limit? And then, like Erin always says, when you get to the end of it, reevaluate. Do I want to keep going? And every time I've gotten there, it's like, yeah, I tried eating this way, and whatever time period we put on that first diet, it's like, you know what? I feel good enough that I want to keep going. I feel good enough that I want to continue to do this. I feel good enough that even though I still have that internal struggle with my brain, it is worth continuing to support my body and be healthy in the way that I'm eating and in the way that I'm living, so that I can be a better version of me. So again, I thank you guys so much for watching these videos. I think it takes crazy vulnerability to share some of the things you all do in the comments, sharing your stories with us, and I'm so grateful for that. And again, when I saw that picture, I thought, I need to sit down and kind of film where I was and how I got here, because I think our stories hold such value, where something that Erin says about, walking the fine line toward type 2 diabetes and fighting for his life for me and our kids, or my story of that demon inside of me that's still like, but you really like sugar. All of our stories have so much value, and there's so much encouragement that comes from hearing somebody else say, you're not alone. And so I guess that's what I'm saying to you now. If you are struggling with that voice inside of you saying, go back to what you were doing before, or it's okay if you have that one thing, you're not alone. I still fight that voice every day, and sometimes it wins, but a lot of times it doesn't. And knowing that I'm not alone in fighting those things and in the way I'm thinking has been really beneficial for me. So I hope hearing my story was beneficial for you. I will see you guys all very soon. Bye. That's so you have a pretty picture.